All right. Well, you mentioned the Panthers. We just got news today, Max. Let's talk about it. Bryce Young. Bryce Young and the Panthers lose their second straight game. I wouldn't even say second. It's been, what, like 10, 11 straight losses, something
13.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Look, long story short, they get dominated. Bryce Young is officially benched for Andy Dalton. All right.
I,
Andy
I guess we
Dalton's
talk about the decision first, and then we talk about if we would do it, or what do you think is the right way to approach this?
I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't. Look, I know the kid is struggling.
I don't see the purpose. Like,
Right.
I feel like you're just admitting defeat. Like,
Yeah.
dude, okay, so what? You think you look this bad for 2 more weeks, and you're like, "Oh, we can go back to him." See, like, it's not him. God forbid you win the next game. If you win the next game, it's like, it's all Bryce Young. It's
Yeah.
all Bryce Young, and I'll tell you, man. I sent you this as a joke today. Like, I was like busting your balls about.
Yeah.
I sent like the picture of Juan's number one QB, Bryce Young, and I said, "Way to evaluate." Or I said something like, I was like, "What did I say?" I can't even remember.
Tough look
But
for my guy.
yeah, tough look for my guy. But I'll say this, man. I was high on him too, and at the time, I wish I was tougher on him, but
Yeah.
I don't think I would have saw this coming. Like, this is like really like this is like you might get cut like after the year type shit. You might get traded for like a seventh round pick.
Yeah.
And I'll say this one. It started with Carolina kind of letting him down. And it's just now it's in the point where he's not seeing the field good. He's second guessing himself. He's just getting teed off on. I really don't even know what he's lost confidence. That's what you can see the body language. He looks defeated. He doesn't look like the guy who was at Alabama who was just he won a Heisman Trophy for God's sakes. This was a really good player. And I think he's failed, and I think it's a failure. And I think the Panthers are pretty much I if you bench him right now, you're calling it, man. And you're calling it. And here's what I'll say, because we always want to give quarterbacks like the pass. I always make this excuse for young quarterbacks. Hey, Trevor Lawrence. Um, he had a horrible coach his first year, new head coach his second year, new system. Think about Justin Herbert, right? How many coaches he's been through, how many OCs, right? Jalen Hurts, but these guys always were making plays where you were like, I can see the light of the tunnel, right? And I don't know outside of that game against CJ Stroud where I've been like, oh, I can see where it's going to be a success with Bryce Young.
Yeah.
And that's what's bad. Like Anthony Richardson, right? You're like, fuck, he was horrible this week, right?
Hmm.
100% horrible. But
Yeah.
he was like, wow. Week one was like, Jesus,
Yeah.
we have something, we think. And Bryce Young just hasn't delivered that. And I said this to the group chat, like, hey, man, I think he just sucks now. I think he's kind of let off. But if you tell me in 3 years he's back in the NFL and he's on a 49ers and Brock Purdy goes down and he comes in, they look good. I'm like, yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. But he's just not a number one pick type guy. I think that's clear. He's not at the level of talent. CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, he just don't have it. And it's just clear. He's small. He's not athletic to the point where it can compensate for the lack of small size. And he doesn't have an elite arm. And now the one thing we praised him for, the decision making, right? You were like, he's a point guard.
Yeah.
That's gone. And I think they've handled it poorly because what I think this is like the worst thing they could have done. If he had any chance to be good, you have to let him play. You have to like try to regrow some belief. And I just think this is the stupidest move they could have done. And I'm sorry, it took a lot of your time.
No, look,
Go
look,
ahead.
look. No, that was great. Look, a lot of the stuff that you said, I completely agree. I just want to add this on it. The Panthers are really bad. They have a really, really bad roster. They lost their best player already, Derek Brown. That's arguably their best player on their roster, and he's gone. They don't have much talent. Everyone thought, hey, coaching change. It's the coach. It's Frank Wright. New coach in there, new system. Let's see what we can do. We
Well,
draft a guy
one,
in Xavier
I
Leggett.
don't want to say the rosters. I mean, the defense roster might not be that great. The offense isn't like Browns with Deshaun Kaiser. I mean, like they invested money in the O line. They gave a big money. They have first round picks. They have decent receivers. Like I feel like that's not fair to say. Like, come on, Ike
I don't know, man.
Ekwonu. Was Iggy Aquino not a first round? Like he was
I
a
mean,
high
he is.
pick.
He is. They
They
have
got Robert
guys.
Hunt.
They
I'm
have.
just saying though. I agree. It's not the best roster in the league, but I mean, I think the coach too shares some blame in this because, bro, they've done nothing right. They don't have a fucking thing to hang their hat on.
Yeah.
So I
It's bad.
agree with Bryce Young is not good. The roster's not good, but let's not let the coaching escape because that they have been bad too. It's not just Frank Wright. Frank Wright was looking better than this shit. They've scored 13 points in 2 games. And the Chargers, they bullied the fuck out of them all game.
Yeah. They made Quentin Johnston look like a fucking Hall of Famer out there.
Oh my God. He's alive.
Look,
he's alive.
I would never do that. I would let the kid play out the whole fucking season. I spent so much capital on him.
Exactly. You didn't mention the trade.
Yeah.
You just will. That's what even makes it like, oh my God, Jamarcus Russell, you're no longer the worst first pick ever. Like
big dreams, everything ain't what it seems. Glittering gold, both ways. Not on my team. This organic, we don't